welcome to a brand new edition of It's All Relative. I'm Josh.
And I'm Angela.
And today we're discussing the Titan Submersible that was en route to the Titanic when the vessel and its 5 passengers suffered a fatal catastrophe. We'll also talk about the rich and elite and how the world has been responding to this recent event and try to answer the question of, have we as people lost our empathy towards others? Lots of opinions in today's show, so you guys already know what to do. Turn it up and let's get it rolling with an all-new episode right here on the It's All Relative podcast. What's up, Angela?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thanks again for being here.
Always a pleasure.
It's been a little while since we've been able to get together. So talk to the world. What's been new?
New with me? Not too much. Just prepping for cheer season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a coach, so I've been working on that routine. And my daughter just got a new kitten, so now that's a thing. It's pretty much school's over, summer's starting.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, you know what I'm saying? Good for kids.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change much for me, except I have to find somebody some days to watch the kids. So.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Well, I mean, talk to me a little bit. You recently had a trip to Legoland.
I did go to Legoland.
So, talk to me about the experience.
Legoland was fun. My kids had a blast. It was a little disappointing because they told me, of course, these are my kids, so I shouldn't have listened to that. But they told me there was a lot of water rides and a lazy river.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty hot that day, and I was really looking forward to it. And the only water area that you can go into was small, and you had to reserve it ahead of time. So I was a little annoyed because, they didn't tell me that ahead of time. Like, when I ordered the tickets online, they didn't say, you have to reserve it or whatever. So I was annoyed. It was hot, but we went and found some other water rides that we got splashed with and cooled ourselves down. Overall, it was a pretty good day.
Cool. Like I said, I've never been to Legoland, so I'm surprised that there were even, when you mentioned, water things or activities, I didn't expect that. I was picturing maybe the kids had maybe got it wrong, and the only water shit was Lego water, fake shit that was built. You know what I'm saying?
It was definitely. If I knew there was no water rides, I wouldn't have been this disappointed. But like I said, in the end, there was this one ride where if you hit the button, the cannon shot water, and it got you pretty wet. That was right good.
Right on. I mean, so Legoland, what was a cool Lego thing that was there or that you saw?
They had all these child-size characters. Mm-hmm. They had all kinds. I thought that was really cool that they were actually built out of Legos, and there were so many of them. That's
awesome. So, a recommended trip for people, or what would you say?
I would definitely recommend it. If you have kids or whatever, but be prepared. They tell you for parking, you pay for parking at the end. But when you get to the end, now mind you, we were there all day, so 7+ hours, $33 it cost me to park there. So I was a little disappointed in that.
Right on. You always got to pay for parking everywhere you go.
Yeah, and it's been a while since I've gone, so apparently that's the price now because...
Because everything's gone up.
Yeah.
So why not parking? Right?
Yeah.
All right, no doubt.
I also went to Lake Compost the next day, Lake Compounce the next day. So that was a lot of water rides.
Cool. For those that don't know what that is, it's like a water park?
It's a water park and an amusement park in one, and I think it's in Connecticut.
Dope.
It was a school field trip.
Awesome.
It was fun.
Cool. All right, let's just move on a little real quick. I wanted to quickly talk about the Apple reviews. After every show, we always ask the fans and listeners to please leave a quick review on the Apple page, leave a 5-star rating. It helps the show out. It draws attention to the show, and we always push for that. those reviews that come in, those we cannot alter, we cannot delete. You know what I'm saying? These reviews come in from whoever's listening. So whatever's said is said, right? Now, the It's All Relative podcast Apple page received a recent review, and I wanted to read it to you, Angela, because we had a person claiming to be the subject that we were talking about in a previous episode.
Interesting.
Okay. So for the listeners and fans that don't know, and for you, Angela, if you don't know, back in episode 45, we did an episode about whether or not, quote unquote, if a game is real that the Hollywood elite play, okay, involving real life humans in everyday life. We had that episode. We had a guest on, Travis, right? So the episode aired. We did it. Everything was cool. A few days ago, we got a review that was, mind you, it was a 5-star review, which is awesome. We always love those. But this review says, episode 45. I'm the subject of episode 45. It's all very true, and it still goes on today. Doubt if you wish, but it's very accurate. The game is real. I played it for years, and I was willing to do just about anything. Tim Chismore from Talk is Jericho. Which, awesome review. Like, it's wild, right? Cool. Like, if it really is cool. Tim Chismore. And
why would he lie?
Exactly. But like I said, that's awesome. We love the reviews. I mean, if Tim Chismore does end up hearing this, I mean, reach out to us. I mean, we'd love to talk more about that. But I thought that review was really awesome for us and for the show. So, thank you for that review, and keep those reviews and ratings coming.
We love to hear from you.
Absolutely. But before we get into today's show, I got 3 questions for you, Angela.
Ooh, here we go.
Yeah, they're all regarding some of the information and whatnot that we'll be talking about today.
Okay.
All right. So first, if you were a millionaire, what's one extravagant purchase you'd make for yourself?
I would buy an island.
Right on. Why? And for what reason?
Just to go to where I don't have to deal with anybody.
You need a whole island for that?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be big, but...
Right on.
Be surrounded by water.
And just by yourself?
I mean, I could bring whoever I want. Don't get me wrong. I won't be there alone all the time, but...
Okay.
I think having an island is cool.
Right on. Would you name it after yourself? Would you name the island?
I would name it. I wouldn't name it after myself. Everything has to earn its name, so...
Okay. Right on. Next question. If you were a millionaire, would you keep it low-key or would you be all flash?
I would keep it low-key.
Okay, why?
I don't know, because, you flash it around and then, people harass you. And it's just, it's better to not be in the public eye so much.
Right on.
So I would have, what I needed.
So if you
very comfortable.
So if you owned an island or bought an island, you wouldn't tell nobody.
Well, not really.
Okay.
I could be like, oh, I know this island that is pretty exclusive. Or something like, not everybody needs to know.
Right on.
That I own it.
Okay. Last question. If you became a millionaire through an inheritance, what would you say to everyone that would talk negatively about you or claim that you didn't deserve or earn your net worth?
I don't even know if I would even entertain them.
Yeah. Because why not, right? You're a millionaire. Who cares what other people say?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Well, I mean, like, it's my fam. Like, obviously, if I'm inheriting something, then I meant something to that person that's giving it to me. Like, they're not just going to give somebody something, randomly. So, it's none of their business.
Right on.
Honestly,
I mean,
like,
so you wouldn't care when people say you didn't work for that shit. You didn't do anything. You just
haters
get it.
gonna hate.
Okay.
Like, haters gonna hate.
No doubt. All
and
right.
I expect that, there'll be a lot of haters.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, with that being said, with all those answers, let's move right in to what we're going to talk about today. Let's talk about the Titan Submersible. Break it down for us, Angela. For those who may not be too familiar with the incident, share with us what you know, what you've heard. Go ahead.
Okay, so the Titan is a submersible, which is different from a submarine. Just let's keep that in mind. I believe OceanGate is the company that launches these expeditions that take people to the wreck of the Titanic. And so the Titan, it's done this trip before. I'm not exactly sure how many times. It's been a while. I think the last time they were out was in like 2019 or something. So, it's been a while since it's been out, down to the wreckage. So it went out, I think, on Sunday the 18th. And it lost communication with its, I guess you would say, its mother vessel. Because as a submersible, it's not like a submarine where you can control it from the machine. It's controlled from the surface, from another ship vessel.
Right. Now, I believe, do you know anything about the way that they communicate with each other?
Yes, they communicate through text messages.
Okay. Which is very different.
And they have to, it's required to communicate every 15 minutes.
Okay.
So that's like mandatory. Like, it has to communicate every 15 minutes, send text messages, let it know it's okay.
Right, makes sense.
So that goes missing. And then, I would say a week-long rescue mission, trying to find the submersible, takes place. Yeah.
Right on.
With 5 passengers on board. So there's five people on this vessel going 13,000 feet under the surface of the ocean.
Yeah, I don't remember actually. I don't recall the depth of the Titanic. Other than that, it's
There's like 12.
very deep.
12.5.
But
It's down there.
yeah,
And it's off the coast of like Newfoundland,
in Canada,
Cape Cod, Canada, that
Canada.
general colder, darker.
Yeah. You got anything else? That was pretty.
I'm sure we're gonna get right
much
into.
Okay.
Cover everything.
Well, I mean, you were right. Sunday, June 18th at 9:30 a.m. The dive operation begins. The first hour and a half of the descent, the Titan communicated with polar prints, like you mentioned, every 15 minutes. The communication stopped after a recorded communication at 11:15 a.m. Now, I saw also that the Titan was expected to resurface at 4:30 p.m. So it wasn't until 7:10 p.m. of that evening that the U.S. Coast Guard was notified about the missing vessel. So quite a few hours where they lost contact. I mean, in that time period, losing contact, let's just real quickly put yourself in that position.
I don't want to. Scary.
Scary? Yeah. I mean, I think we mentioned off mic, but we both are a little claustrophobic. So being in a vessel that's small, underwater, confined like that, would be nerve-wracking. I'd flip my shit.
Yeah, and they describe it. So they say that this vessel is roughly the size of a minivan.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, a minivan, one toilet, no seats, a maximum of 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
They have to sit cross-legged on the floor. The only windows are the portholes for viewing the wreckage. They're locked in there, I believe screwed in there, if I read correctly. It's operated, from a vessel on the surface with virtually control for like a gaming control, like a
like a video game controller.
And so like the community, it's just I don't know, just that description alone I do not want to go in anything like that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very safe, or it doesn't sound very reliable. I mean, we can real quick. You're absolutely right. The Titan Submersible, you said, was a 5-person vessel. It was 22 feet long, so not big at all. You compared it to a
they
minivan.
say roughly the size of a minivan.
Yeah, super small. And it was constructed of carbon fiber and titanium. It was said that it had 7 backup systems that were intended to return the vessel to the surface in case of emergency.
It said like it automatically drops weights after a certain amount of time.
Right, that being one of them.
Resurfaces.
One design was to work even if everybody on board, if they were unconscious, then the vessel was supposed to rise. You know what I'm saying? But very small vessel. But the Titan itself, it had up to 96 hours of breathable air for its 5 passengers when it set out. So, which then, according to the timeline, would have expired on the morning of June 22nd, 2023, which, as we record this now, was 2 days ago.
We should also take note that it did start. It started later than it was supposed to.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I know they talked about a weather window.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think is significant to me, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Just to think that they were starting, hours later than they were supposed to.
Right. That could throw off a lot of things.
Yeah, especially with the ocean.
Exactly. Stronger currents, higher whatever, you know what I'm saying? It could throw everything off. Now, the Titan Submersible was operated by, which you mentioned, OceanGate, which is an American tourism company. There were concerns that had been raised about the safety of the vessel. We had talked about and just described what it looked like and what it was made of. But the OceanGate executives did not seek certification for Titan, arguing that excessive safety protocols hindered innovation. That should be a big red flag. I mean,
I didn't know that. And I know there was multiple safety issues with it.
Right. But I mean, OceanGate has taken many paying tourists in submersibles to multiple different locations in the past that have all been successful. Including
this one, I believe.
Right. For me, I don't really recall. You could be 100% right. I don't remember them taking one of their submersibles down to the Titanic before, you know what I'm saying? I know they did it in other areas.
I could have swore that one specific vessel, the Titan, was down there previously.
I mean, you could be 100% right.
Check now. I'm curious.
But so let's talk real quick about the price of the seat, or of a seat of the submersible. Do you know how much each seat cost?
I believe I heard when it was converted to American, it was about $150,000. Yeah. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
That is the price that one of the passengers was offered. I don't remember why or recall why, but it was because it was the one. one father and son that had gotten the that price. But
So that was a combo price for both of them?
I believe so. And I do not remember. I do not recall why. I apologize. But I know that the full price that everyone else had to pay was $250,000.
So they got a discount.
Yes.
Dang.
Yes. But $250,000 to have an opportunity to be taken down to see the remains of the Titanic. I mean, if you're into that or into history or into the story of the Titanic or anything, or if you have the money to do that, I mean, that could sound very enticing to people, right? I mean,
well, yeah. Why not?
Exactly, especially if you have the money.
Yeah, just because you and I wouldn't do it doesn't mean somebody else isn't.
Right. You're absolutely right. Do you know? Are you familiar with the 5 people who were on board?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm familiar with them per se, but I know.
Do you know their names or
stuff?
Do you want to
start you off there? So Stockton Rush was the CEO of OceanGate and the founder, I believe.
Yes. He was 61 years old. You're right, chief executive. He was the co-founder of OceanGate.
Co-founder.
Yep. Go on.
Hamish Harding was a British businessman.
Yes, he was 58 years old. Okay. He had gone, though, into the Marina Trench before.
I did read that. He was pretty experienced.
Yes, he broke the Guinness World Record for circumnavigation of the Earth. He also flew into space back in 2022. So he was very, it seems like a risk taker or someone that is into adventure and risky shit like that, but has the money to be able to do it. But go on.
Paul Henry, and I'm probably saying this wrong, Nargeolet.
Mm-hmm.
He was a French diver.
Mm-hmm. He was a little older. I believe he was the oldest gentleman on the vessel. He was 77.
Good for him.
Yeah, wow. He had led 35 previous expeditions to the Titanic. But once again, I don't know if it was using that vessel or whatnot. Maybe it was through something different. But, he had been down there 35 previous times. Go ahead.
Shahzada Dawood and his son Solomon Dawood.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm saying those correctly. If not, I apologize.
Right. Well, good job. I apologize if I mispronounce him too, but Shahzada Dawood, the father, he was 48 years old. He was one of the wealthiest people in Pakistan. And his son, Sulman Dawood, he was only 19. And, like we said, he was the son of Shasta. I did read and see this said, you don't know if it's 100% true because it could just because of what happened and the outcome. But if so, it's very sad. But I had read and seen that it was said by family members that Sulman, the young kid, he was terrified of going on this trip, but he wanted to please his father, so he agreed to go. That one's crazy because I understand, what I'm saying, being scared and not wanting to do that. Like, I understand the fear of that, you know what I'm saying? I feel for that kid. But that was the basic breakdown of what we know up to now. There has been debris found of the vessel imploding. So we did find out, or, it is, I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but I believe it's confirmed that the vessel imploded, which, we don't know when or where, but I mean, there was debris. If debris was found by or somewhat near the Titanic, then, who knows where along that descent it imploded. But I guess if there was going to be a tragic incident or something to go wrong, something that would happen that quickly, is somewhat comforting.
Yes,
right?
For sure.
I don't know. I mean, Angela, is there anything else that you want to add or say before we take a quick break about the...
Well, I think, and this is just a random coincidence, but Stockton Rush's wife was actually the great-great-granddaughter of a couple that died in the Titanic.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I thought that was kind of a weird...
A cool connection.
Yeah.
I mean, I've mentioned a million times before on previous episodes that I'm a fan of the movie Titanic. James Cameron was the director of the film. He's been down to the Titanic, I believe, 33 times. Okay, successfully.
Cameron.
Yes. And when he was asked about this incident, Cameron criticized the choice of carbon fiber composite construction of the pressure vessel. He pointed out that such material has no strength in compression when subject to the immense pressure at that depth. He also criticized Rush's real-time monitoring of the submarine's hull as an inadequate solution that would do little to prevent an implosion. So, red flags all over this vessel about the whole, I guess, trip itself. A little rushed, not prepared. You have people who have successfully done this trip, and they, had opinions and whatnot of how this particular trip was not maybe properly handled. You know what I'm saying? You agree? Pretty.
Yeah, I mean, from what I hear, there were a lot of, like you said, there was a lot of red flags, and there was a lot of previous safety issues. So, I mean, yeah.
All right. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue to talk about the Titan tragedy, as well as the rich and elite, and tackle the question, are we as humans losing our empathy towards others? So make sure you come back with us right here on the It's All Relative podcast.
I'm in the game now, shit's the same now. Explode next mode, I'm the same how. Don't say you know me, just say you did. When you see me sliding off to another crib, I'm in the game now, I'm the same how. The rap game will never be the same now. Don't say you know me, just say you did. When you hear Y.O, say that's that shit.
Welcome back to It's All Relative. Still with me in studio, Angela Galenti.
Hey.
So let's get into the rich and elite, okay? Now, all 5 passengers of the Titan were of this status. All right, so talk to me. What is your opinion on these millionaires taking these trips and being able to experience history, knowing that you and I and the majority of the people on Earth will never be able to do so?
I mean, if they have the money for it, if I had the money for it, I would do it. So I really don't see a problem with it. Okay. Although, I mean, we'll say that as much money as they are paying for it, that when things do go wrong, then they should be splitting the bill for that.
What do you mean?
The company that So, like, I mean, obviously these rescue missions are not cheap by any means. So, who actually pays for them? Most likely, your taxpayers or
right.
So, with the amount of money that they're charging for these activities, I believe that they should be splitting the bill when things do go wrong.
Okay. Well, these millionaires, I guess, yes, are. I think it's safe to say that they are trying to profit off of these people who have the money to be able to afford to do these things, with no real regard to safety. Right, they're basically in it for the money. So, which can stir up many emotions. It can get people, leaning one way or the other. I've seen many negative responses towards this incident, and especially on social media. The last few days, I know my social media has been covered with people using humor towards the situation, which, my first reaction was I thought it was pretty shitty. You know what I'm saying? Because people lost their lives in this expedition, what have you. Have you seen or heard any opinions by others regarding this incident?
No, and I'm actually starting to wonder, like, if my feeds are rigged or something, because I don't see a lot of that in my feeds, no.
So you don't get the actual news or things that are happening in life up to date?
You put me on the spot.
All right.
I follow along.
Well, so you haven't seen anything. You haven't heard anybody, like, people that you may come across in your everyday life. No one's mentioned or said anything you don't see.
Not too much.
All right. So I constantly see these negative and these memes involving the vessel, involving these people who have died and whatnot. Those that are responding with humor and negativity, talk to me. Do you think that that's justifiable?
I don't think it's appropriate at all. People did lose their lives, whether they had the money or not. Do we really put a price on a human life?
Well,
but,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Some people use humor to cope.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not...
Well, do you think that's the direction or route that society now? Is that how you think? Do you feel like...
I think society is completely desensitized to human feelings and emotions and empathy. I think we're taking a little bit of a downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't nearly as empathetic as they were in the past, or they should be now. So,
right, you and I are a little older. We could say maybe we could fall into different categories of being old school. So I think the way that society and people handle situations now are a lot different than we would. Be honest. How do you feel towards those who are, of a wealthy status, where, the ones that don't have to worry or put much thought on a price?
Well, I'm a little jealous.
Right, rightfully so. Yeah. Go ahead.
Like, it would be really nice to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe people are jealous, and they're just, that's their way of acting out.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned you maybe would feel jealous, right? What about what you personally, would there be any other emotions that you may feel or that you do feel when thinking about,
well, they should have known the risks going down there, the passengers. And it seems like the company, Ocean Gate.
Yeah.
It seems like there was a lot of negligence on their part. I mean, there was safety issues, and there was a director that was fired because he was, he had raised some concerns, some safety concerns back in, I think, 2018. So instead of, looking into that, they fired him. Like, there's just so many little things, I don't know,
that could have possibly been avoided.
Like, you're paying that much money to do this. As a passenger, you would think that you're safe.
Right.
The amount of money that you're, footing out, you would think that you're safe. And this company, I feel that they're, highly responsible. I mean, they do know the risk. You always know the risk when you're doing something that dangerous.
Exactly.
But also, again, you're putting that much money out. You would think that it's safe.
Right. And a lot of this information now that's coming out about Ocean Gate and all these safety protocols and whatnot, I'm sure they weren't really even addressed too much before this incident, because if someone's approaching you and offering you a chance to go see the Titanic and whatnot, you, as the person that they may want to experience that, you're willing to pay the money for sure. You know what I'm saying? And you've probably seen and know. I mean, we discussed the passengers who were on it, now minus the young teenager. Everybody else was pretty much, or I mean, like 3 out of the 5 had some skill, knowledge on what they were doing. These weren't just average people, you know what I'm saying? They've done shit like this. So going into it, you think you're surrounded by people who are on the same level as you. You know what I'm saying? You have heard and seen that trips like these have been made many times, and they've all been successful. So why the fuck not? I got the money. I can afford that. I don't care about that. I want to experience this shit. Yeah. It's been safe so far, so let's do it, right? I mean, that would be a logical approach. Yeah. Maybe if you were in that position or had that money, right? All right. So then, do you think people are showing a lack of empathy towards the situation because they are in a lower class?
I think it's very possible, yes.
Okay. Do you want to expand a little on that, or?
I think it all, again, comes back to the jealousy. Like, we're just programmed to think that way, like, for some reason. Like, a lot of people, not everybody, obviously, we're not all in the same category. Mm-hmm. But we get jealous of situations, and that's how we act out.
Right. Jealousy is a normal emotion, a human emotion.
Very common.
That everyone faces. And you're right. It's very simple and easy to hate on somebody or to talk negatively about somebody if they have or possess something that you don't. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I do understand that. Like we said, jealousy is a common emotion. But let me ask you, all right, would it be fair to say that someone in the lower class could feel hostility towards millionaires / billionaires, what have you, because these people in the lower class, they work very hard for many hours during the day just to be able to survive, right? They have to worry about how their next bill is going to get paid, or, if they're going to be able to afford to stay at their current residence, right? Those are legit concerns that the majority of the people face on a daily basis.
I face it on a daily basis as well.
Right. So while someone from the lower class is, going through this or facing this, the millionaires of the world, they go and raise prices on everyday essentials that people need to survive.
Yep, inflating, and it's all for profit.
Exactly.
Cheaply made.
So, this is what happens.
Angry.
So is hostility okay?
it's understood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
but it's warranted, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. It's not morally okay, but it's understandable. Like, I feel it. Like, I work my ass off day in and day out.
Right.
Other people, and it doesn't even have to be like millionaires. Like, other people get stuff handed to them on a silver platter.
Mm-hmm.
They fuck up their whole lives and they're still getting shit handed to them.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I'm busting my ass, struggling to, feed my kids and, pay my bills and have a roof over my head. And, so yeah, there's a lot of anger and hostility but not everybody that's a millionaire, a lot of them busted their ass too. Not all of them, believe me.
Right.
But, some of them did bust their asses
Mm-hmm.
to get. I don't know any of these people personally, so I don't know their past. So who am I to judge them at this point?
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree that it is fair that I understand how people such as myself too, how us as and I say lower class loosely because I don't believe there's a middle class no
there's
more.
only two classes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The way that society and the way that the world's turned out, like, shit's fucked. You know what I'm saying? And, there is the rich and the elite that are pretty much, stomping on the lower class. And that's where the majority of the people lie. Now, when incidences like this happen, based off human emotions, like you said, anger, jealousy, what have you, a lot of people's reactions, oh, well, they were millionaires, like, who cares, whatever. They, it's not, they didn't have to, they don't go through the struggles that the everyday normal person goes through. So, for them spending that much money for an experience like this is nothing to them, or may not be, as a big deal as it would be to you and I.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we would be set for, a few years.
Right. So, I mean, I understand, like you said, I'm with you. I can see why people have those hostile feelings towards the situation and maybe showing, a slight lack of empathy of not really caring too much or, about the situation. But I do want to kind of, from a different point of view, I want to ask you, if someone who worked hard, all right, is smart, learned about good investments, played the game of life, and figured out how to be a millionaire, right? How the hell do you hate on that?
You can't.
Right.
That's pure jealousy right there. Like, that's the jealousy part.
Okay. And especially for those who are in the lower class or lower status, I once again ask, like, how can you hate on someone who's gone through that process? You know what I'm saying? If anything, and this is just my opinion, but, especially if that person is close to you or someone that may be in your circle, you should embrace that and respect that. You know what I'm saying? And not be jealous and what have you.
It's actually really sad because, like, not even, like, it doesn't even have to be on, like, the millionaire scale.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, just in general, like, people, they're just so jealous of each other, and they don't like other people to succeed for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to celebrate people's successes.
Absolutely.
Not belittle them. Like, I know growing up, like, there were a lot of things that were belittled instead of celebrated. And, so it can be toxic.
Right.
So, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, you're good. I mean, since whoever it is, since that person, has figured it out and is a millionaire, why do we care how that person spends their money and time? Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? I don't.
Like, who are we to judge? Like, we're
Exactly. Or who are we to even fucking care? Like, that's what we do. We give opinions. That's what we do. But in all reality, like, if you're a millionaire, I don't really think you're going to care what other people are going to say.
Well,
exactly.
I'm going to go to my island.
That's what I'm saying. You think, like, these millionaires right now, you think Elon Musk, you know how many haters he has? You think he gives a fuck about what any of these people say, what you and I say about him, Excuse me. But, let me ask you real quick. What if someone started a side hustle, and it took off to where millionaire status was inevitable, all right? Once again, how can you be mad at that? And when does anger and jealousy turn into a lack of empathy?
I do not have an answer for that.
All right. So anger and jealousy, I believe, or I feel like they're human emotion on this level, correct?
Yeah, I would say
Now,
on the same level.
Right. And then beyond that would be, I feel like that's when a lack of empathy, when you just don't care anymore about people, the situation, maybe disrespectful. I don't know. I feel like it's people. I feel like it's a lack of respect when people show a lack of empathy also. But I mean, do you think many people are talking shit about, these 5 passengers because they were millionaires? And, these people fell into being the select few that could afford to take this trip.
Yeah, definitely because of that.
Because they were millionaires.
I mean, if there were regular people down there, I don't think they would react the same at all. I think they maybe would be a little bit more empathetic. I can't talk.
Empathetic. You're right. I do. But once again, I mean, I guess, yes, people would still care if they were just normal, everyday humans because of
And I'm not saying you're not going to have those people that are assholes anyway, that don't care about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because people hate themselves. Then that's when they portray their hatred on other people. Like, 90% of the people that are nasty like that, it's because they just hate their own lives. They're not happy with themselves. Like, it's about them. It's not it's not about the other person. And I also think that this is the lack of empathy has been going on like for years. Like, it didn't just happen overnight.
Okay.
It's been
right.
Kind of been like trained. We've kind of been like trained to like be less empathetic for some reason.
Right. So, I mean, you agree be honest, in your opinion then, which you pretty much already answered, but have we as a society, we as people, have we lost empathy towards people as a whole?
Yes.
You believe that? You think that?
I do believe that.
Okay.
Not everybody. I mean, we're not all lost, but
right.
It's definitely lessened, and it continues to lessen.
The percentage is higher with those that lack empathy, right? But all right. I mean, I feel the same way when it comes to that question. So, I mean, you got anything else that you'd like to add or share before we wrap it up?
Not really. I mean, just, my heart goes out to them. Rich or poor. I mean, you don't really put a price on a human life. I mean, they were still somebody's parent or brother or sister, aunt, uncle, They're still people. And, we need to recognize that.
Absolutely.
Step out of our own little world. Just because we didn't know them doesn't make them less human.
So I guess I would quickly just leave it as, with my last thoughts, as we continue to get into the future, we're going to see more and more crazy, wild opportunities that'll be offered, that only the rich elite will be able to experience.
Yes, we'll be coming on for an episode of On Our Way to Space or whatever.
Right?
Didn't they try sending somebody in already?
Well, I mean, I was going to mention, give an example that, I'm sure that in the future, things that you can't really think that are could ever happen are, you know what I'm saying? Like people living on another planet, like people moving from Earth to another planet, like who knows, like crazy shit like that. And you did mention like a space thing or whatever, but I mean, I was going to say, don't forget that on December 11th, 2021, so 2 years ago, that a select few of the rich and elite went to space. All right. And I think the only reason people didn't shit all over that was because that was successful. It's the same thing, there was a select few of these people, one of them being Michael Strahan. Do you know who he is? He was a Super Bowl champion, played for the New York Giants, and now he is a host of Good Morning America or some shit, like
one of those morning talk shows.
Yeah, very, very, very high net worth. You know what I'm saying? Very successful human being. He was one of the people that paid to go to space, and not a lot of people reacted the way that they're reacting now. And once again, I think it was because that trip was successful. The only reason why there's so many things right now focused on this is because of how this turned out. But either way, like you had just said, rich or poor, human life is human life. And it's a saddening thing what the 5 people faced on their way to see the Titanic. You know what I'm saying? So, our thoughts and prayers for their families and their loved ones. Anything else that you would like to say?
No, just the same. Prayers for their families and take peace in the fact that it happened fairly instantly. I know we were all like, I know I was kind of at the edge of my seat with the whole thinking that they were, dealing with that down there.
Yeah, I think we can leave it as maybe, we as a whole, we as people, maybe, in our everyday life, the way that we interact with people, the way that we act in general, the way that we communicate, maybe we all
be a little kinder.
Could be a little better, do a little better. You know what I'm saying? But all right, let's wrap this up. Angela, is there anyone or anything that you would like to plug, shout out?
Just my kids.
Okay.
Always shouting them out.
What are your social media accounts?
Random Man 78 on Instagram.
All right. You guys can always find me at Josh_Toth3. That's my Instagram, and my Facebook is Joshua Toth. Big shout out to Stellar Sound and Media and our editor, Jackson Wallace. Also, big shout out to Timber Design and Build and the whole team. If you're looking for home renovations, home improvements, additions, clean quality work, this is the squad to do it. Contact Chris Rawl or Jeff Wigman through Instagram, YouTube, or any other social media platforms. Also, subscribe to the Timber YouTube channel and see footage of the team and jobs that they have been completed. Quick reminder to the It's All Relative fans, if you've liked what you've heard today, please subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening from. And Angela, where can everyone find us at?
So, yeah, you can find It's All Relative on Apple Podcasts, Spotify for podcasters, YouTube and YouTube Music, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. So don't forget to subscribe and follow.
Yes. And if you guys are using Apple or Spotify, once again, please leave a quick review and a 5-star rating. Once again, it helps us out. It helps the show out. We greatly appreciate it. And once again, our latest review that was left on Apple, we thank you, if Mr. Chismore. But all right, that's a wrap. Angela, thanks again.
Peace out. Thank you.
All right, everyone, stay safe, stay kind, stay proud and powerful, and we'll see everyone soon. Peace.